When things are not going good, you gotta push to make it better. You cannot just sit down and just wait for it, you know what I mean? You need to make it happen, you, yourself, and nobody else. When you're like 12 and you're making like €1,000 on a one-day job, you know? Like, so that's what I mean. If you're really good at marketing, if you're really good at Instagram, social media, and you're really good at stuff, you can be a dancer and make good money. You know, you can make more decent money than when we started. I always had a problem with the name b-boy. That's why when you see, like, if you see my social media, mostly everything is the. So the Blanka, you know, the Vandal, you know, like MCK Blanka. Like, you cannot be like me. You're not gonna be me because you're not me. But you can get inspired from the things that you feel.
The first thing, I wanna introduce my guest. This is b-boy Blanka from Mighty Zulu Kings from Denmark. Floor Gangs, yeah.
I started dancing in around 98, but serious, when I started getting into it, like really serious, was 99. I've been breaking for almost, it's gonna become 23 years soon. You know, it's a long time.
Yeah, long way.
Been in the scene for a long time, you know, and like been around, seen different cultures, you know, seen different approaches also.
You're Brazilian, right?
I'm also Brazilian, yes. I came to Denmark when I was 15. And yeah, man.
Where do you live in Denmark?
I live in...
when you came, when you was 15?
Oh, Roskilde.
Where is it?
It's near Copenhagen. It's like 20 minutes with a train, 30 minutes from Copenhagen, yeah.
Small city.
Small city,
Yeah,
of course.
Cool. How do you know about breaking from beginning?
Yeah, like what happened was I had a friend that worked at a store called Drop Dead. It was like a hip hop, like street store.
Okay.
And he wanted me to come there and help him out, you know, with some work and stuff like that. And I was really young, so it was kind of like a side study job thing, you know, so I came and helped him out. And
And then you know something about culture.
No, I didn't, like, I listened to hip hop, you know, and I listened to like I walked with hip hop clothes, like it was more kind of like skater, I would say, like at that time, you know?
What do you mean?
Yeah, and, but I wasn't like, I didn't really know about Africa Bambaataa, I didn't like know nothing about like hip hop.
Of course, you was a kid.
I was a kid, yeah, exactly, you know? So what happened was when I was basically working in this street store, I was really getting into graffiti. Not doing graffiti, but I loved watching it, you know? And back then, all the like the graffiti guys, they would make basically, like we do break tapes, they would do graffiti tapes.
I remember this.
You know, like...
From 90s, I remember.
Exactly, so, and we would get in the store, we would get a lot of graffiti tapes.
Electro music. And electro music and graffiti tapes.
Exactly, you know, and what Laz would do, that was the guy, he was called Laz, he would basically give me the tapes and he would be like, yo, take them home, see if they're good, you know, if they're not good, turn them back and then we don't need them, you know, we're not gonna, you know, so I would take them home, I would see, but then one day, you know, one day he the same thing, the same drill. He told me, yes, it's cool. Here, there's a tape. Checked it out. I took it home. It was called Freestyle Session, you know. But I didn't know, you know, what it was. I thought it was graffiti because it was a big graffiti piece on the VHS, you know. And I was like, you know.
Freestyle Session, which one?
2.
The 2?
Yeah, number 2. You know, the white one. It was the white version. You know, the VHS was white. And then I came home as usual, put the VHS on, made my food. Like,
oh my God.
Yeah, you know, made my food. I was about to sit down, watch it, and then it starts out with like this crazy guy, you know, I can't remember his name now. Yeah, this
Billy
guy,
Bell,
Billy Bell, exactly, Billy Bell Joe, yeah. You know, like, that was really funny, man. And I was like, what the hell is this? And then there was people spinning in their heads, and I was like, what the fuck is this? You know, I was like, yo, this is dope, you know? So I called my friend. I had a Brazilian friend that also lived near me, you know, in the same city.
Come to see.
I was like, yo, come to my house. You need to see something. And at that time, I did capoeira with him, you know, in Copenhagen. So for me, what I liked about capoeira was the acrobatics. You know, I always loved the acrobatics, the flips, the one hands, the like all the invert, you know, like the treadmills and stuff like that. So I told him, I was like, yo, if you thought capoeira was crazy and dope, then you should see what I have here. And he was like, yeah, you exaggerating. And I was like, no, just come here. Then he took his bike to my house. He sat down. I was like, are you ready? He's like, yeah. I was like, I pressed on and he saw it and we were like, we gotta do this, you know, like this is what we gotta do, you know, and
1998.
This was 1998, and that same day we went to the streets, you know, with a boom blaster, put like some hip hop music. From beginning, first day, you know, we just went and tried it out, because we had a little bit of the techniques from capoeira, you know, from the one hand freeze. So we were just trying to copy everything. You know, and then try to do it our way, like we did like in capoeira, you know. And then we start developing.
So what was the name of your first crew?
My first crew was, like we had like an unofficial crew called Fifth Elements. You know, it was like me and some other guys, a guy called Daniel, a guy called Matt, Mark, Tan was also a part of that crew. We were like a lot of guys, Edvas, Kamel, his name was Kamel, not Kamel, but Kamel,
another one.
Yeah, another one, yeah. You know, and we started as Fifth Elements, but then we felt that name was kind of like because of the movie, you know, Fifth Element, you know, and it came out around like that time, you know. Yeah, exactly, you know. So we were like, no, you know. And then one guy called Mick, you know, Mick, it's like a b-boy, and he has a brother who's called Kim, and he's a popper, you know. But these two guys, they were like, yo, you know, like we should call ourselves Rumble Pack, you know what I mean? You know, and we were like, oh, that, you know, like from Controller, you know, Rumble Pack, you know, like it rumbles, you know, in a pack, you know, and we were like
fighters, superheroes.
Yeah, exactly, you know, and we were all like, yes. And that was my actual first crew. It was Rumble Pack, and then from Rumble Pack I went to Natural Effects. Yeah, after that, and had a lot of years there, learned a lot. And then
Does it exist for the moment, this crew?
It exists, but it's not battle active. But there's still some members that dance and they do shows you know, and do something like that. I know Soso, he's in Barcelona right now, a guy called Rodrigo. You got another guy who's doing stuff for another crew called Freestyle Fanatics, and they do shows in Sweden. And then Sonic, but he's in Singapore, of course, you know. But they still there. They're not as active as you know, like really active crews.
Yes,
but
I understand.
But they still a crew. They still have like their Instagram, like, you know, like you can go there and follow, you know, Natural Effects. And then from Natural Effects, I went solo for a while. For almost 1.5, 2 years, I didn't have any crew. When I went out of Natural Effects, when I walked out, because I walked out of the crew, I was like, I just gotta learn now. I wanna be myself, you know what I mean? Because I felt I didn't have the time to really learn, you know, because I was so concentrating on learning the moves instead of learning the history and learning, you know, the story behind why am I as I am, you know, like what is hip hop really, you know what I mean? Like, what is breaking and stuff like that. And that's when I started becoming really tight with Kenneth Fogel, a guy, Wildcats from Out of Control crew from Denmark, and he started giving me books, you know, and saying like, yo, go read this, you know, like go read this. And I started practicing alone at his studio. And then after that, another guy came to Denmark called Hefo from Poland. Yeah, you know, and me and him, we start practicing together. And that went from one thing to another. And then I got a call. I cannot really remember how that happened, but it was something like Tyrone contacted me, and because I was going a lot to Holland and we were having a good chemistry, you know, me, Foolish, from Sweden, you know, Hefo, and we were going to Holland, and we were having a really good time with Mario and Tyrone and those guys. And then they kind of like had an idea of having me, Hefo, and Foolish in a Holland crew that was supposed to be a crew that kind of like not teaches like the b-boys how to battle, but to guide them. This was, wow, this must have been 2008, around 2008, and that crew was called Funky Dope Maneuvers.
Oh, I remember this.
Yeah,
name.
we went to R16 too.
Yes.
We were invited to R16, but yeah, like I think Funky Dope Maneuvers existed for like what, 1-2 years, at least as I know. I don't know if they still exist this day to day, because then a lot of them just went fully Rugged Solutions. Some other went fully Extraordinary Gentlemen, XG, and some other, like, you know, because it was like different crews. It was kind of like, it was Shane from Hustle Kids, it was Kiddo from XG, it was me, Foolish, Hefo, it was Nick, you know, just do it, yeah, and Dusk, what, Sky Chief. Yeah, we were like...
It was a big communication between the top b-boys.
Yeah, it was kind of an experience of like learning, you know, learning from each other, you know, growing, you know, try to grow as a unit, you know. It was really dope though. It could be difficult at times because it was too many, because it wasn't natural, you know what I mean? So it was too many different heads mentality. So there will be a lot of like argue, you know what I'm saying?
Yes,
and
yes.
I think that's what also kind of like killed it, like at least from, in my opinion and from what I know. But when that ended, then I went like, I think it was 10 months. I went 10 months without a crew, where I was like, because Funky Dope Maneuvers wasn't like a crew for me, like a crew. It was more like a project, you know what I mean? That's how I felt about it.
Something, yeah.
Yeah, you know, because it couldn't be a crew, because it's not a family. We didn't grow up together. We don't know each other like that, you know?
You can grow up together now.
Yeah, exactly. So from there, I went, then Mouse came to Denmark, and I don't know how.
From England.
Yeah, from England, yeah, from Floor Gangs, yeah, and Zulu Kings. And me and Mouse was talking, and Mouse was like, yo, you know what, bro, like...
What is Floor Gangs?
Floor Gangs?
Yes.
It's a crew.
Yes,
Floor Gangs, it's a worldwide crew.
Yeah.
You know, Floor Gangs is a worldwide crew that originated from Korea.
Who was
The founders was Tino Rock, Redfoot, and Born. You know, like mostly Born, and then Tino Rock came in, and Redfoot, you know, and there was another guy called, what's his name? What's his name now? Oh, I can't remember. It's gonna come to me. But
many guys from Denmark.
Floor Gangs, yeah, we have a Floor Gangs chapter in Denmark. It's J Sticks, Do Rock, Groovy, Slows.
Yes.
He's a part of the Danish chapter, you know, but he's still Vietnamese, lives in Vietnam. And then Tanuki, but he's starting again. So because he was having a problem, you know, with his back, so he went out. But I don't really know how active he is. He's more dancing for the heart, you know what I mean, for the soul, not you know, to get into it again. That's what I think. You know what I mean? That's what I think it is. So the Floor Gangs process was 10 months after I went out of Funky Dope Maneuvers. Mouse came to my house, my apartment when I used to live in Copenhagen, and I don't know how it started. It was really random because I met Tino Rock and those guys in Korea in the R16. You know what I mean? So I knew who they were, and I even ciphered like with them, and we even had a exchange, me and Tino Rock, you know, and Tino Rock, Born, and me and Mouse. You know what I'm saying? So
you feel each other.
Yeah. But this was way before, you know. And then one day, I was talking to Mouse, and I don't know how we got into it because I can't remember. But then out of the suddenly, Mouse he throws me a shirt, like he throws me a T-shirt, and I take the T-shirt, and then I look at the T-shirt, and then it says Floor Gangs on it, and I'm like, what, you want me to wash it? You know, like, and he's like, nah, you're funny. I was like, he's like, nah, man, oh shit, really? I was like, oh damn, yeah, man, like, cause me and Mouse, we've been brothers for like what? Like since I started breaking almost, you know, we've been knowing each other since 2000, you know, like me
him from beginning.
Yeah, like exactly. Me and Mouse is like my Filipino twin, you know what I'm saying? Like me and him, we're really tight, you know, similar but also
Different.
totally different, you know, but that's what makes the connection, I think, so special when we're together, you know what I mean? So I was like straight just because of that, because me and Mouse was so tight. I was like, you know what, let's do it then, hell yeah. And then that process has started with me going to Korea, you know, meeting everybody, like really like tight, you know, before I really got official. You know, I met Tino, everybody. I was there for, I think, like a month. I think I was there for a month for the first time. And
Seoul?
Seoul, yeah, in Seoul. And that just clicked natural, you know, like there was no like...
No stress.
No, it was just like I remember Penny picked me up in the airport in Seoul, Incheon airport, and it was just natural, you know. It was like there was nothing awkward. It wasn't, and that felt right. It felt like every time we met, it felt right. And then that's when I knew, okay, this is family. This is crew. You know what I mean? Like, and then.
Yeah,
but,
you're talking about energy between people, you know.
Exactly, right? That energy where you just understand each other, you know. That's really like special, you know, and that's what makes a crew, you know, that when you have that understanding between one another, you know. And and then right after that, basically after Mouse, he threw me that shirt and we were like, yo, you know what, like, yes, it's settled, let's do it. Then I think 4 months passed by, like around 4 months, and then Ness calls me up. You know, and then Ness
You're
calls me
famous
up.
person.
And then Ness calls me up, and I don't remember if he called me or he Skyped me. I think he Skyped me back then. It was Skype. He Skyped me, I think. And he was like, yo, what's up, Blanka? And I was like, yo, what's up? And it was like, yo, you know what, man? Like, you know, we've been talking about you and stuff like that. You know, like you already talked to Poe, you know, and stuff like that. And we were talking about trying to prospect somebody in the crew because they were looking for prospects, you know. And Ness was like, everybody was voting and who it should be. They had some names, a list of names, and my name popped up. And he was like, you know what, like, we want you to get into the prospect, you know, like, process. And if it's something you're interested in, cool. If not, it's also cool. But I want you to take 3 months to think about it, you know, and then after the 3 months, we can talk. And then if it's cool, we make the process happen. And it didn't even take 3 months, man. I think it took like a month, you know, like I called Ness back. I was like, I really thought about it though. Like I really thought about it because I just got like, I felt like I just got in Floor Gangs, you know what I mean? Like, and now Zulu Kings, yeah. I was scared that would overshine, you know, like my crew, you know what I mean? Because that's the one I really want to rep, you know what I mean? But it didn't, because Floor Gangs was already an affiliated family to Zulu Kings, because they had Born, they had C4 and Redfoot, yes. You know, like they had like Mouse was already Zulu Kings at that time, you know, and then Just Rock, he came later, you know, there was already people there, you know, so for me it was like, it just happened natural. I think a month and a half passed by, I called Ness and I was like, yo, you know what, I'm down, let's do it. You know, I talked to the crew about it. I asked Tino and all those guys what they thought about it, and they were like, yo, you know what, you should do it, bro. Like, it's Zulu Kings. Like, are you gonna say no? You know what I mean? Like, you know, and
maybe
that
people
was it.
don't understand this, yeah.
You
no,
know?
If you say no, people maybe...
No, today they're probably not gonna, but at that time, you know, people from that time will understand it, you know? So,
you live very special way of living, bro. Like b-boy, like
Yeah.
hip hop artist. You know. Do you think it's okay? This way is okay, or you can change this? Forget about breaking 23 years ago, and now you sit in bank working on the computer. You know?
Like, I think if you're the type of b-boy that started breaking without having a job beside already, you know, like having a primary and a secondary thing, you know, so you have your primary thing that is your job because you got to make a living of it, because your breaking is not making enough for you to, like,
from beginning,
you know, then of course, then you can, of course, I think a lot of people can say, yo, you know what, breaking is, you know, done. I need to make money. I have my job. I need to focus on that, you know. But if you are a b-boy that never had a job and start breaking and had a success breaking, you know what I mean, from the beginning, you know, and never had something from the side, it's not because it's impossible, because nothing is impossible, but it's hard, you know, because you're free in a whole different way, you know. Like when you're a b-boy, you like, or a b-girl, or an artist in general, that doesn't need to be
musician.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be a dancer like me and like you know. It can be a painter.
Yes.
You know, it can be a musician, like you said, an actor. You know, like I think it's passion. You know, it's heart. And when you start loving something really like to a level where it becomes your identity, then it's hard to give up on your identity, because you feel if you do that, you give up on your love. Does it make sense?
I know what you mean.
You know what I mean? So I think that part is really hard, you know? But at the same time, like, if you're not making it as a b-boy, you need to do some to live, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? That's
son,
reality.
Right? You have son.
I have a son, yeah. 12 years old.
Do you want he live by this way? Be a b-boy like our generation who started 20 years ago.
Like, if I would never tell him to start breaking like I did. Like, I would never do that, because that's too risky, you know? Like, I dropped out of school, I did a lot of stuff, you know what I mean? Like, and you gotta think about, we live in different environments. This is a new world. When I started in the end of the 90s, it's not like it is now, you know? Now it's a whole different world we live in, you know what I mean? So for him today, you know, start like I did, I would be like, you sure? Because you know dad struggles sometimes, you know what I mean? Like you know what I mean? And that's life. But he learns from that too, you know? He learns from seeing that, you know, and seeing passion and seeing commitment, seeing that sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not that good, you know what I mean? Then you gotta, you know, put more into it, you know?
Yes.
And he learns to do that. He sees that, okay, when things are not going good, you gotta push to make it better. You cannot just sit down and just wait for it, you know what I mean? You need to make it happen, you, yourself, and nobody else. So he learns that process of it, you know? But I think...
You mean responsibility?
The responsibility, you know, of himself.
Of himself.
You know what I mean? But I think just in general, putting the scenario of if, like with my kids starting now, like I did, is also really surreal, because this day to day, if you're really good at marketing, if you're really good at Instagram, social media, and you're really good at stuff, you can be a dancer and make good money. You know, you can make more decent money than when we started.
Sure,
you know what I mean? And that's the same. Like, for example, like my kid, he does modeling, you know, and a little acting, you know, and stuff like that to commercials. And he's telling me like, yo, you know, like I just did a job, you know, like I got like 1,000 euros, you know? And I was like, what? You're like 11, bro. How did you make 1,000 euros? Like, I didn't even do that. I didn't make that money when I was like young, you know, like you know,
maybe
it would be the half of that. It would probably be the half of that, you know. And you're like 12 and you're making like 1,000 euro on a one-day job, you know, like. So that's what I mean. We're living in a society, in an environment that is much easier. There's so many more ways and opportunities for you as an artist to make money. So today I would tell my kid, like be like me, like not be like me, but you can be inspired by what I did, but in your way. You don't like, you cannot be like me. You're not gonna be me because you're not me, but you can get inspired from the things that you feel, you know, are like the things you look up to in your dad, like the good things, you know. Don't do the bad things, you know, like just the good things, you know, like keep
But
them. My dad always says, you know, like there's not such a thing as a wrong thing. It's the perspective, how you see the situation.
But
You know what I mean? Because sometimes something wrong can happen to you, and in that moment you think it's wrong, but later on you're gonna think, if that didn't happen, this wouldn't happen, that is positive. So I always say, life is like that. You gotta take the wrongs and you gotta take the goods. It's how you make it, you know. It's like if you give a person a really bad, like if you give a person bad, lemons, you know, what is an intelligent person's gonna do with the lemons? Most people will just throw them out. Other people will do lemon juice.
You're a father, you got a son, but people call you b-boy. I mean boy, but you're not a kid. You're a father.
Yeah.
What do you think about it? About this tradition, b-boy? What can you say?
Yeah, like this is my opinion, like my opinion solely. You know, like I always had a problem with the name b-boy. That's why when you see, like, if you see my social media, mostly everything is the. So the Blanka, you know, the Vandal, you know, like MCK Blanka, you know, because for me, like, there's so many stories about how b-boy, like the terminology of b-boy actually is. Like, you can go to one OG and then he can tell you one thing, and then you can go to another OG and then he can tell you a totally different thing. So I think it's a terminology that I feel today is what is the terminology for you. You know, understand the different terminologies of what it traditionally stands for, but you can also make your own terminology of it. For me,
of course.
I don't like to use the terminology of b-boy, actually, because of what you said. Because b-boy, I'm not a boy no more. Like, I'm a grown ass man. You know what I mean? So for me, I don't even, when people say like, yo, so what do you do? You know, like, then I say I break. And they'll go like, okay, what is a breaker? Then most people will say, yeah, but a breaker is a guy who does stuff like, it's like a b-boy, you know, like I go and I say a mover. I'm a mover. That's like when I think of me,
Blanka mover.
I'm a mover, you know, so that means that I like to move, you know, because I like to move to sound, you know, like if you can put whatever sound on. For me, it doesn't need to be breakbeat. It doesn't need to be hip hop music. It doesn't need to be house music. It's whatever I listen to.
So you're dancing.
And I like,
dancing.
I'm gonna express myself and move to that. And that makes me a mover. You know what I mean? So
Interesting.
but that's my own opinion about myself. Not because I'm saying that we should change b-boy to, because, you know, a lot of people already out there scheming and doing stuff, you know, like, oh shit, should we change the, no, like b-boy is b-boy, but this is myself, just me, my philosophy about myself. I'm a mover, you know? And also because we move. We go from country to country, to cipher, from battle to battle. We movers, you know? We gypsies, bro. Like, for me, Ukraine has always been, in my eye, originality. You know, like some of the most original b-boys come from here. You know what I mean? And Russia. You know what I mean?
One?
In my opinion, like that, like Intact. You know, like he's from here.
I know it.
Like Robin. You know, like Robin. You know, he's from here. You know, Buddha. He's from here, you know what I mean? Like
Robin and Buddha from this city.
There you go, you know, and Beetle, you know, Beetle, you know, like Kazuya, you know, like Kuzia, yeah,
Kuzia's here.
yeah, Kuzia, you know, like And yeah, man, like there's a lot. And also the young kids, the new generation that I don't know the name of, you know, because sometimes you just go on the internet and then you see some kid, you know, like, and then it's from Ukraine, and you go like, what? You know what I mean? This is dope, you know what I mean? Like, it's different, and I like that, because for me, that's what breaking is about. Breaking is about creating your own style. I feel it's different. I feel the vibe of the approach is different. You know? Oh, another guy also from Ukraine, Apache.
Apache.
You know what I mean? Like also like danced for a long time, good friend. Kinder. Now I'm gonna keep on going. Now I start remember Kinder. You know, like there's so many, bro. But I think it is different. It's different because I think it's hard to explain because it's the approach. Like you can see when a Russian goes out, you know, and how he presents his stuff. And you can see a little difference in the Ukrainian scene, how they present themselves. It's similar, but it's not the same, you know? But for me, it's also hard because it's my first time here, and every time I've seen it, it's been live to like in another country, but then it's been like a known b-boy or a b-boy that has a name, you know, from Ukraine. But I never been in Ukraine and seen the scene in Ukraine, you know. Maybe it's
Banka Fanka.
Maybe it would be easier tomorrow after the jam to answer that question. You know what I mean? Yo, Banka Fanka Jam, thank you for having me here. First time in Ukraine. I'm having a blast. These guys know how to treat people well and good. I'm just telling you, you're gonna have a good time if you come here. The weather is good and perfect. And I'm looking forward for tomorrow. I'm looking forward for the next days, you know, and it's just been a blast until now. And I can imagine it's gonna be even doper tomorrow with the jam and the event and everything, you know.
Of course.
And it's an experience, bro, you know, and I'm loving it, man, and really thank you for having me, man.
Yeah, thank you, Blanka. Banka Fanka Jam.